It's way more easier to deadlift 75 kilos to 100 kilos, but to shut the chatter in your head and do more than think. The mental game was in my head, I want to be 100%, do everything 110%.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. And in the process of doing 110%, you stress yourself out but it's more important to be present and to do rather than not do. The difference between doing something is better than not doing it at all. Sometimes it's like preparing for a cycle ride and then perfect, and you're so pissed off that you're not perfect and then you don't do it at all. I rather will take the cycle out and spin for an hour rather than not cycle at all.
I am Venki, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Chenthil Mohan, is a photographer friend of mine who is amazing behind a camera. He became a cyclist and a runner as he fell in love with the sport while shooting sport as a freelance photographer. On our last episode with him on this podcast, in episode number 36, we talked about his journey from a corporate job to becoming a full-time photographer. In this episode, we talk about how his perspective about work, life, and sport has changed post-pandemic. We talk about how pursuing perfection can be a paralyzing trait to have as a photographer or as a sportsman. It need not be pursuing heroic feats of endurance or nothing. It need not be 100% or nothing. We talk about finding peace with just doing the work and not being too judgmental about it. Che always brings a refreshing perspective to things, and this conversation was no different. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. But first, this episode is brought to you by Findbetter.ai. Findbetter is a social networking app for cycling and running enthusiasts to discover and shop together. For a cycling enthusiast like me, it is a treasure trove to find all sorts of bikes and accessories, both used and new. I tend to get a lot of direct messages asking for where to find a bike on a budget, etc. Nowadays, I simply tend to direct them to the Findbetter app. It is an app that is completely free to use and is available both on Google Play Store and the App Store. Download and you can follow me on the app as well. I am there on the app as Bikey Venky, Bikey Venky. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers, and it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenky on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Che. It is a pleasure having you again on the show.
I don't know how many times I've been on the show yet.
Was it once or twice?
Once or twice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, let us pick and start on, what's been going on of late in your life and work. I see a lot of, you've been on the run, on the go for like crazy nowadays. What's going on there on the work front?
I didn't work for a year during COVID. So when I got out of that mode, I started appreciating whatever little we already have, and I really like what I do, which is photography, which is not a type of photography, as in like, I just love my time with the camera. I like to do everything before and after, and I like the profession of being in photography. It's not only taking pictures that gives me joy. It gives me joy delivering to my clients. It gives me joy to make money out of photography. So the whole process is something that I absolutely enjoy. So I started completely focusing back at my work. And I also wanted to do more with sports. I started shooting cycling, and till COVID, I think my entire portfolio was largely cycling,
Right.
if it was
Yeah.
sports. And I started putting uh, more emphasis on everything that I can shoot. The way I would say is I started doing what I preach rather than just preach. And I started shooting everything from school cricket to, junior cricket, junior football, kids, doesn't matter. If it happens around in Bangalore and if I can have an opportunity to shoot, I will go and shoot it. I make time. And most of it, thankfully, are paid gigs. Very few are non-paid gigs, so which means that I can cover my costs and I can come back home with some money. And it might be a 5,000 rupee gig to shoot schools, but if I do 10 of those gigs, it's a considerable amount of money now immediately.
Right.
Which also meant that it's physically exhausting. Photography itself is physically exhausting, and now the way I was drilling it the last 7-8 months became very, very intense. You're switched on always, and you have to keep. I mean, without realizing it, I had to live like an athlete, where you're focused for large stretches of time. You have a downtime, or you have an off season of like 30-40 days, and like and it worked, as in like I've trained. And also the way I told myself was, you have trained for TFN 6 months, like crazy feats of endurances,
Right.
and for fun. And now this is your life, and well, you can do all of that, provided you're motivated towards what you're doing. And I was like, okay, let's go at it. And
So was it like, I want to pull on a couple of threads there, like pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic. A lot of us, the pandemic period itself kind of helped a lot of us reshape our perspectives on life, work, and sport, whatever, right, in general. So how did it shape your current approach to work and life as you see it?
I'm a freelancer, so somebody has to hire me to get paid.
Right.
And and for about 18 months, I had no work. I had wiped out. I had wiped out pretty much everything. I had I had non-existing savings,
Right.
and I was like I was running on fumes. So it made me, work-wise, it made me appreciate that any work is good work. I rather will work than not work.
Right.
And I enjoy my time with work. It's not like I have to work for money, but I enjoy my time with work, and the more I work, I am more happy.
Right.
So any work is good. So I did a lot of small experiments and social experiments where I call it ego buster stuff. I started doing things for very low denominations. Like in my head, 5,000 rupees is the lowest denomination that I can work for. And I said, okay, I can do a lot of it. I can, and find joy in 5,000 rupees. There was a time when I would say I will not work for anything less than 50,000 rupees or 5 lakhs.
Right.
And I've been arrogant enough to say no to a lot of things that I felt were below me. And then I also, during COVID, it made me realize that I chose this profession from a well-paying corporate job. So where did this ego creep in saying I will only work for this much and not
Right.
that much?
Yeah.
If it's fun, I should technically be doing it if it's fun.
Right.
And then I had to answer a couple of questions saying, why is it not fun? Is it mundane? And when you answer the question why it's not fun, there are two things that came out. One, I was physically not capable of doing it. So I was fighting my body to do it. Hence, I didn't enjoy it. And the other thing is, I was mentally not capable of doing it because in my head, it felt like I was getting bored. I was not in it. And so these are the two aspects that I had to work in, which was super easy because it's just myself. It's not like buying an equipment that was going to change my way of working. So I said, okay, let's flip the coin. And then also during COVID, COVID changed perspectives because I started losing my. I live with a lot of dogs. Me and my wife live with a lot of dogs, so we started losing our dogs around the COVID time, and then it also made us realize that whatever we have is very finite and it will change. So you rather will enjoy today than wait for another future day to enjoy stuff. Time with your dogs, time with your family. So you also hold less baggages in the process. So you live more, at least that's the intent, live more towards your present day and care two hoots about what happens tomorrow, metaphorically tomorrow.
Right.
I don't plan too far out ahead. I have grand plans for future, but they're grand plans. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay. As a photographer, I want to shoot the Olympics next year. I have made some attempts at shooting Olympics next year, but I will sleep very peacefully if I don't shoot Olympics next year still.
Right.
It's just a goal one of the goals that I go towards. If it doesn't happen, great, but I put in the work to get there. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. There are other things that I can chase.
So there are a couple of points again. The physical, one be you being not physically ready, and one being you being not mentally ready. So what are the shifts there on both those fronts that kind of helped me pivot out of that?
Mentally, yeah, the mental game, the getting mentally stronger is way more
Important.
it's way more difficult as well because your brain is like this monkey. There's a monkey sitting inside my head, constantly saying one thing and doing another thing, and then and to rein that monkey in is not. It's way more easier to deadlift 75 kilos to 100 kilos, but to shut the chatter in your head and do more than think. At least that was the mental game. Was in my head, I want to be 100%, like do everything 110%.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. And in the process of doing 110%, you stress yourself out and there's so much. But it's more important to be present and to do rather than not do. The difference between doing something is better than not doing it at all. Sometimes it's like preparing for a cycle ride and then you work you're perfect, and you're so pissed off that you're not perfect and then you don't do it at all. I rather will take the cycle out and spin for an hour rather than not cycle at all.
Oh, that is so important that you say. Actually, the what do you call it? The demon of perfection.
Yes.
Right. So you want everything to be 100%, but you are in the process of wanting that and trying to do that. You are stressing yourself so much that you
lose the joy in doing it in the first place.
Yes.
And it's also, you cannot blame yourself too much for this because our world is shifting. There's so much data coming from everything that you do, how much time you spend on your mobile phone. Everything is data which is readily available. And you have notifications to tell you everything is available on that. Strava is telling you how fast you went on the smallest segment in your street, and then you want to get better out of it. But how does it impact your life if you don't get a KOM? Jack shit, I'm off Strava for the longest period. I still do a lot of heart rate data, I do a lot of stuff, but I've completely switched off that side, but I'm still on Instagram and stuff. But even that puts a lot of pressure on you to do it at a certain intensity, own certain things, and then you're looked down upon if you don't. You think you're looked down upon if you don't do a certain things a certain way. It doesn't matter. End of the day, it's a part. It's the bigger picture that I play to, and I keep my mantra now is tell myself that 80% is better than 100%. Because 80% is better than 0%.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and in the pursuit of 100%, I shouldn't let go of my 75s and 80s. It's very important.
Right.
And you get better at my work and otherwise only if you keep doing. And when you stop doing, that's it.
Yeah.
So the more I shoot, the better I get my photography. And for that, I have to keep shooting, and consciously I keep shooting. Come on, work, no, I mean, so it doesn't matter. So I have to keep doing what I'm doing. So
Excellent.
that's the whole.
Yeah. So you in that after that kind of perspective shifts, I see you kind of I mean, in the last few months, whatever I've been seeing, I mean, Insta is one window that kind of helps me
Yeah.
to follow you, because you are always on the run, always on the work. I can't just lift a phone and call you in the middle of a shoot or something, right? So I see that you are working, I mean, you're shooting many sports now.
Yes.
Across
Yes.
various categories. What are some of the things that you're doing right?
Work-wise, I'm doing a lot of commercial. My biggest money earner is commercial photography, like shooting for corporates and shooting for creative people, build their marketing portfolio. But it's all in the domain of sports for me right now, because my other passion is to shoot competitive sports.
Right.
And I like human form in movement at the highest level. So to watch the professional athlete perform the way they perform looks poetic in my pictures. But sports pays you the least, at least editorial sports, when you compare with the commercial work, pays you peanuts. So I have to balance pretty much everything. I shoot birthday parties, I shoot home events, architectural photography, interior, industrial work. So a lot of varied kind of work, but it all comes under sports in some form of the other. And I also do a lot of retail work, what I call retail work, which is your birthday parties and interacting with non-creatives as your end clients. They just want some part of their life documented for their memories, and you just go and engage. So, and I take my intensities are the same. I will go and shoot a birthday party at the same intensity that I go and shoot a football match or a cricket match. So it also helped. So this shift of me trying to do a lot of things, especially considering sports is not a high-paying job in India, it's still growing. The entry barriers are very high. The money is low, and the physical requirements are very high. So which also shifted me to focus on doing everything. It doesn't matter whether you shot a football match yesterday, a cricket match the day after. You can't come back and sleep 3 days after that. Maybe somebody is calling you for a birthday party that third day. I'll still have to have the energy to go and shoot the birthday party, because that's going to be paying me more than the football match and cricket match. So it's important to run your house and maintain peace everywhere else.
Right.
That peace of mind is what is going to help me shoot something else later. So you have to have the energy to do it. So which pushed me to be physically more aware of my body, and stop doing. Literally, I had to stop doing stupid feats of endurances.
Right.
Like you cannot train for TCS 10K if I have to work the way I want to work, because and I'm not somebody who's going to say I'll sign up for a race and not work towards it. I'll go nuts over my training and stuff. I'll be doing one tempo work, one speed work, and then one long run, then a lot of strength work in the middle, and just the tempo work will wipe me out for 3 days if I work the way I work.
Yeah.
So I started completely cutting down my endurance load, as in like I stopped running at intensities, I stopped cycling at intensities, I switched to low heart rate workouts, keep my everything under 140 beats. Zone 0, zone 1 work. That's all I do. And the other thing is I can't afford injuries. So running hard or cycling hard or any kind of hard workout makes me susceptible to some stupid injury.
And your job is physically demanding, and your injury will put you out of your work.
Yeah, the moment you're out of work for 1 week, people forget you for 3 more weeks after that. So, and I can't afford that stuff. Again, I need to be I need to be firing at least at 75% always.
Right.
Rather than performing 110 on one and then 3 days no work. That I can't do. So push, focus more on strength and conditioning. SNC is like there's so much joy in lifting weights compared to climbing Nandi in under 30.
Let us talk a little bit more on that. See, I mean, you and I were running together around
our lake, our neighborhood lake,
the Kalkari Lake during pandemic, I guess, right? Or just after pandemic closure and all. And at around that time, you were doing what, 80 to 100 kilometers per
60,
week, and
70 to 80 k's a week.
And then around that time, I guess you had a lot more time to kind of recover also. But at what point did you kind of decide, okay, this is not going to help me in a...
Work picked up sometime last year. Mid of last year, work picked up. So, and every time I started going to work, you had less time to do whatever you're doing. And there's a sense of, it's like an addiction as well, as in like when you're running 70 Ks, you're high on
endorphins.
You're just like, and you want to keep doing it, but it's not realistic as well. And my work was intense, and then I was feeling very
tired. Of travel as well.
Tired. Like running was bringing more injuries, especially with intensities. Running is fairly brutal, so and I didn't have time to do the other stuff. Like you have to warm in, you have to do your work, then you have to recover correctly. So then I started cutting off a lot of intensities. So cutting off intensity changed, switching to MAF method and like doing low intensity work changed stuff. And then I started I was always somebody who was fit, as in like I never was unfit beyond a point, and I always was largely fit even for the last 10 years. But what I started noticing was my strength was super lacking, especially my upper body strength was non-existent.
And that's what you used to lift to camera.
Exactly. I mean, like half the time you come back to shoot holding your back, and like halfway through the shoot you can't bend forward, and you can't do short sprints. You can't climb with a lot of equipment. Every time you squat and get up, you cannot squat. You just get stuck at the squat itself. And you start noticing these things. Your bags were feeling heavier. And then I started also realizing that it's cheaper to work and strengthen my body than to buy equipment to make my life easier. So I was like, okay, I mean, instead of buying a case which is 30,000 rupees and which has fancy wheels and stuff, I can do 3 months of SNC for that same amount, and I'll be okay to carry the existing bag at the same end and without feeling the weight, which is what I ended up doing. I put so my best investments in the last 6 to 8 months was consistent SNC.
Right.
I have fallen sick in the middle. It's not like the way I say it feels like I've been hitting it like non-stop. No, far from it. I have fallen sick in the middle. I've got cold in the middle, but I listen to my body. It's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to go to the gym if I was feeling too bad and like the day before, feeling feverish, and I'm not going to hit the gym and fall sick. Or like if I come out of the gym and I feel like a little too tired, I know that I've overcooked it and I need to give it a couple of days before I hit it again. Small things, and then being okay with doing only one session a week, being okay with, okay, push it, and like I know when to push it and when not to push it now. Saying, okay, fine, it's feeling too tired, but I know I'm not falling sick and I can still land up in the gym and push it. Whereas Freya will be like, hey, you look tired. Why would you want to do this? You might fall sick. I'm like, no, I don't. I know that this will not lead to me falling sick. I should just go. And then I go to the gym, come back. I feel great after that. And I know, okay, I've done one checkpoint. You remember that you can push that much. Your baseline is changing slowly over a period of time.
Right.
So just that, just going by feel, not getting obsessed with some metric or the other. And I have a picture of I call it the falling in love with RP. What is it called?
Perceived exertion.
Yeah,
Rate of
rate
perceived
of
exertion.
perceived. Falling in love with RPE. So
Yeah.
just fall in love with how you feel about the intensity rather than looking at. I still like metrics, but I would listen to myself, and that's what I started. I said, "Hey, I'm going to do this 1 hour thing and see how I feel."
Right.
Because sometimes my number says I've done jack shit, but I feel wasted. So I rather will listen to my body saying, because my watch is not going to know better than what my body feels.
Right.
So
Yeah. It is also like you were saying, it is not like you have when you are even with the SNC and whatever you are doing, it is not that you have to be 100% and not miss a day and all that, because instead of say you, if you are not able to do, if you are not in a place physically and mentally, or work schedule wise, you don't have an hour or a couple of hours to do it, you can still do, say, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes
Easy.
to kind of, get some reps in. Right?
Yeah, nothing else. If I can't even hit the gym, so now I have this whole 30-minute routine at home that I can do with no equipment. Founders, 12 minutes. There's another 4-minute thing on with the same guys. Eric Goodman's another 4-minute video that I recently saw. That's 16 there itself. 3 sets of 12 eccentric push-ups. Eccentric push-ups are slower push-ups.
Right.
So let's say I do 10 and 3 sets of that. That's another 10 minutes gone. Now just do some stupid thing on the side. After that, you're done. You're like done with 30 minutes. 30 minutes of solid workout.
Right.
And most of the times in this 30 minutes, I'll fail at like 7 or 10 or whenever I fail.
Yeah.
Whenever I fail and I say I don't feel like doing it, I tell myself, okay, it's great. You've done some shit for today, so now you can carry on with your other stuff. Your mobility is back, and I'm also a little focused on my mobility drills that Yash has taught me over the years. Because that mobility drill itself is 20 minutes, just your spinal mobility and activating your basic muscle systems and stuff. And not getting younger. 43, body is not like. It's, you can feel the creak in the edges.
Right.
So that mobility itself sorts half the trouble. Massive emphasis on founders and some basic workouts which doesn't involve equipment.
Yeah. What does that mobility consist of? Cat cows and stuff like that?
Spinal mobility is something very similar. It's like your reverse leg touches at floor level. Resistant band based hip flexion activation.
Okay.
Because some of your big muscle groups, at least mine, doesn't get my hip flexor is like a problem child for me, as in like
same here.
So I need and it's a big, I mean, it's not like something, it's always stiff and your mobility is a little off, and so you need to warm it in a little before you do stuff. Squats. I know a bunch of things that I can do with just a resistant band.
Right.
And glutes is something that and years of cycling and running, my lower body is fairly strong, as in like I can name my different hamstrings, and I can have, like, I know my legs are, and I had a hamstring injury a while back. So since working for the hamstring injury, I know that my hamstring is like super solid right now. So it's a lot of trunk based work that I force myself to do because that's my weakest link.
Right.
I mean, earlier I realized my hands are super weak, as in, like, for a photographer, I shouldn't be saying that. I had like I had zero strength with my hands, and you can literally feel your forearms hurting when you come back from a shoot.
Cyclist hands.
And now, I mean, now I am like, okay, now that has to change. I mean, like, you can't keep saying that at your work.
Yeah.
So work with your hands, arms, I mean, I now I can safely say my triceps, I have something called triceps. And simple things. I mean, how far can your shoulder blades go? I mean, I mean, initially I was surprised that it didn't go at all. And my instructor will keep saying is like, retract your shoulders. I'm like, what? Retract your shoulders? I can't even move that. So now I am conscious about it, and I'm conscious about how much I keep checking. I mean, like, can you retract your shoulders? And there are some basic visual cues that I have, like, my instructor would like, you should imagine there's a line between your shoulder blades, and you should be able to squeeze your shoulder blades. And like, how far can you go? And the one of the muscles that always screws me over is the rhomboids, as in, like, I can never bend my neck after a shoot. And every time you cough or laugh, it'll hurt. And it's nothing to do with your breathing, but it's some muscle on the back.
The tightness.
Yeah. Now all of that is gone, as in, like, so now mentally in my head, if I have a pain like that coming back, that means I've stepped away from my fitness routine for a while then.
Right.
So then you need to go, like, these are small signs that your body tells you, like, hey, you're screwing up, come back.
Right. So I mean that's a great this thing takeaway from our little conversation here is not just get into those stupid feats of endurance, but keep it practical. And it need not be 100% all the time, even if you or don't go run after perfection. If you are able to hit those 75s, 80s, you will still be making progress. Right. So talking of a little bit more on the that stupid feats of endurance, right? It is such an easy trap that all of us fall into. We start with some random goal like, oh, I want to do 16,000 kilometers this year. And 20,000 kilometers this year, and it's just some arbitrary number that we could have picked up from one of our friends on social media or Strava doing, and okay, that is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And we end up picking that up as a goal, not thinking about the realities of our daily life.
No, my question is again, I mean, 16, let's say 15,000 kilometers. So who decides that you have achieved it if you are at 14,999 versus, so all this I noticed when I used to train. It's like a 9.5 kilometers was not enough. It has to be a 10K because Strava is going to give you a 10K badge. Screw that. I mean, if my body says it's okay. I mean, now I run by time. I don't even run by kilometers. It's like 30 minutes easy, 60 minutes easy, 2 runs, done.
Right.
Some days 30 minutes easy can be a 4K. Some days 30 minutes easy could be a 1K, for God's sake. I'm just feeling so tired, but it's 30 minutes easy.
Right.
It's not about 1K. Those metrics are, yeah, it's frivolous at some level. At least I don't have the luxury of falling back or having time again. Time is a thing. I mean, I don't have recovery days, as in I have to keep hitting it every day. And I think that's the most that's the case with most people. There is a real life to live. It's not only the stuff that you do and I mean, like, I call it stupid feats of endurances, but I wouldn't it's not in a demeaning way, because some of these stupid feats of endurances have taught me a lot over the years,
Right.
as in training for TFN.
Right.
I mean, now I would label it as a stupid feat of endurance, but that mad training for 6 months to 8 months.
That taught you something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that-
I mean, I know what structured training means, and I know the value of structured training.
and it kind of push your limits,
Yeah.
and you it kind of redefined your limits in so many ways.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
now I mean, like a 10K cycling ride is not enough. As in, like, I mean, like, you need a minimum, you need at least like a 50K like spin. As in a 50K, you call it a spin.
Right.
When you started out, I mean, in that phase is where 100K was a milestone for the longest period of my life. But that whole training block, I was doing 100K every other week.
Right.
And my body is conditioned to take more suffering because of a lot of these stupid feats of endurance. But now I'm a little more in connect with what my personal reasons why I'm doing this. That's it.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? I want to have a great life, and I don't want to. I don't want these feats of endurances to define my life.
Right.
I don't have to win the Strava leaderboard. I'm not stalking on people's random 5Ks.
Right.
It's more about just having good time for myself. So it's more about myself. So
Yeah.
very-
That kind of makes sense, right? You know, it is being a little bit more connected with your why. That is a big thing. And once you are connected with your why, everything kind of falls in place. You know, it helps it helps sort your priorities. Is it Are you prioritizing your time with the family, your time at work, your time for yourself, for taking care of your health? So all these kind of fall and self-correct themselves once you have that why sorted out. So I mean, at some point in life, all those stupid feats of endurance will make sense, but not all the time. That is what
Correct,
the
correct.
thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were there for a reason.
Correct.
I mean, as much as I call it stupid feats of endurance, they're just feats of endurances.
Yeah.
But they taught us a lot. As in,
Yeah.
at one point we had something to focus on, and we did it well. And it also, I know what it takes to push past pain, push past suffering. I mean, like, crazy stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I still remember my practice trip to Kalati. I wouldn't do that now. Because you just don't want to look bad on the day you actually did Kalati, so you rather will go suffer in advance.
See what it feels like.
Yeah. Like, then it's
mentally and physically prepared.
I apply a lot of that in my work right now, as in, like, what feels harder right now doesn't feel harder actually, because you've taken harder shit before. And in I mean, it's the same Kalati metaphor that I give to a lot of my photographer interns and people who are like, you feel like you're dying, but you're not dying. I mean, the fact that you can think that you're dying means that you're not dying. So just breathe and just push past. And this is not a cycling analogy alone or anything physical at all. It could be a problem at work. It could be a problem at life. And so this flip switched also for me, because I started doing a lot of therapy sessions, mental therapy sessions with my therapist. Sometime I was a mental mess around 2019 till the start of COVID. 2018 to 2019, till COVID kicked in. I really had to be dragged in. My friends, family, pretty much everybody said you need help, and then I approached a therapist, and then I kept going through my weekly sessions, and then it became 2 weekly sessions, and then I still go to my therapist, and that sorted a lot of things, because in your head, this world we are also pushed. I'm not sure if it's an Indian thing or it's like a global thing, but there's so much emphasis on perfection,
Right.
And when we don't get that perfection, we keep reprimanding ourselves or punishing ourselves in the small, tiny ways, and it all adds up over over a period of time,
Yeah.
and then you're never happy with what you're doing, and then being accepting my reality is something I have to attribute it to my
The therapy, yeah.
therapy sessions, and as much as I say physical health, mental health is an immense thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the greatest workout that I mean I recommend to all people is 7 hours of sleep. Nothing beats like your world could be exploding the day before, but you sleep for 7 hours, you're in a better place to handle the same shit.
Yeah.
So small things make a big differences. So so it's a mix of these two parameters that helped me move forward.
Right.
The way I see it, the way I push forward, and it's not about I mean I set a goal for the week and I am not going to kill myself if I don't hit the goal.
Yeah.
It's more important that I'm my eyes on the ball, which is my work, which is my family time, and that's
Yeah.
where I am at.
Excellent. This has been fun catching up. So, what is on the menu for the rest of the year for you?
I'm not sure where I'm going this year in terms of work is. Olympics next year was a huge goal 2 years back. 2024 Olympics in Paris was a huge goal for me going forward. But I'm, as of now, more focused on immediate things. I'm shooting a lot of sports around in India. I shot for the ISL league with a larger team, but I was focusing largely on Bangalore, Kochi, and stuff. Hopefully this year that'll again repeat. A lot of stuff.
ISL is
Indian Super League, the soccer thing.
Right.
Hopefully I am a part of the same team going forward this year. The scheduling is changing this year for most of the sports. Then I don't know. I mean, cricket is not part of my radar at all.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. I'm not too kicked about it. And my interest still lies with a lot of up and coming sports. And I have my eyes on a bunch of them. My reason for being in sports is not also to shoot the big sports. It's also, I mean, I started with cycling. We are not big even now. So I still enjoy shooting smaller sports. At the same time, travel a little, see different things, push your physical and mental barriers as much as you can.
Yeah.
So and this year is largely ISL. I think Ironman might happen again.
Yeah.
So
October, right?
yeah, the dates are come up ahead. We are not closed on a lot of these things, but I still have to. These are loose ends in my head. And then
You've done a bunch of tennis,
tennis
swimming.
Tennis I keep shooting. I might do some tennis action later in the year. A little bit of swimming, not much, because swimming happened because the national championships happened in Bangalore, so it was convenient to shoot at that level here. Football, yes. Tennis, yes. I'm trying to get my hands on other sports as well, table tennis and a bunch of other sports.
So what makes the past dream or whatever of shooting 2024 Olympics a reality for you? What are the big factors?
More a logistics thing than a skill thing.
Yeah.
It's the sports photography world is a very small ecosystem.
Right.
And I've told in this podcast before that the cycling photography is a small thing. So imagine sport being a slightly bigger circle compared to cycling photography. And in an event like Olympics, it's a well covered and documented event already.
Yeah.
So what am I going to go and add? What's my unique story? or you reach a level where people recognize you and say, okay, you go. And it's also access thing. You need to be a part of certain groups of it, be it
Agencies and stuff,
agencies and
yeah.
stuff, to get better access to shoot these events.
Right.
Which also comes with a baggage. So if you're an agency photographer, you cannot define a lot of things that you want to shoot. If you're asked to shoot something, you're asked to shoot something.
Yeah.
And these are these are well covered events. I need to add some value to myself at least if I'm going to shoot it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just ego massage that you also went and shot.
Olympics, which is a big thing in
Which is
sports.
another form of stupid feats of human endurances again. I've done this. I mean, like, spend my money, go there. I've done this with 2016 World Championships, Cycling World Championships.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't spend my money, go there if I'm not making money out of it. And if I'm still doing it, I should do something of value.
Right.
I would want to document maybe. I mean, my dream of documenting Olympics is not and it's all limited to Indian athletes, and I would want to focus on the athletes who don't get the medals. Neeraj Chopra has enough cameras pointed at him.
Right.
I would prefer the last guy who comes in the pool or in another sport, and there's break dancing, which is going to be a part of 2024 Olympics.
Oh.
If India has a representation, maybe document them. As in, I can guarantee you there's going to be zero coverage of a lot of other sports.
Right.
That's my interest area personally, but I need to make it financially viable to be there to do that.
Correct.
Still not lost hope, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Inshallah, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. This has been a super fun conversation. Thanks
Yep,
again.
sir.
Until next time. Fun.
Yeah, I'll have a version 3.0.
Yeah. Super.
Awesome, da.
Thank you. That was my conversation with Jay. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Also, supporting the sponsors of the podcast is also a good way to support the podcast itself. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.